2014 Audi A6 is the most versatile of the Audis. It covers everything between the Audi A4 all the way up to the Audi A8, which is the flagship sedan of the Audi lineup. The car starts at a $43,100 base price and goes up to about $77,000, which is about a $34,000 swing. As you can imagine, that means there's lots of different variations of the Audi A6, and we'll try to cover as much of them as we can. So first what we'll do is we'll go through the design and the dimensions, some of the construction of the car, and some of the standard features that are common amongst all of the models, and then we'll move into breaking up the separate packages and engines so you have a better understanding of how the A6 can be configured. The A6 is a considerable upgrade to the Audi A4. It measures 194 inches from tip to tail, which is about 9 inches longer than the A4. It's about 82 inches wide and about 74 inches with the mirrors folded up, so measure your garage. What I love about the A6 is that it's built on a high-strength steel chassis, but all of the body panels are made out of aluminum. Now, aluminum is kind of Audi's thing, right? It is stronger and lighter weight than steel and also more flexible. So when you need, in an impact, that metal to deform, it's actually going to absorb and deflect more energy as needed. The A6 has a chassis that is designed for the Quattro system. Now, Quattro is an integrated, permanent all-wheel drive system in the car. What I love about it is that other manufacturers have to kind of raise their chassis up to fit all the extra parts underneath the car, which changes the handling, the center of gravity, kind of makes it feel a little bit more lumbering. But the Audis are built for them straight out of the gate. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of the A6s include Quattro, though. It is still an option. So let's break down the models a little bit. It comes in basically 4 different flavors. A 2.0T 4-cylinder turbocharged engine comes with either a front-wheel drive or the permanent all-wheel drive Quattro. The 3.0T Supercharged V6 comes only with Quattro, and it has a cousin, the A6 TDI, with a 3-liter turbocharged diesel engine. The design of the A6 is striking, and you can see that a lot of the lines on the car are angular and athletic, but not too edgy. Now, this car that you're looking at here, the silver one, has no S-Line exterior package. It's more of a base vehicle, right? If you look in contrast, the black one next to it is equipped with the S-Line package. As you can see, the front bumper is a little bit more aggressive, and it has the kind of honeycomb mesh texture towards the bottom, and it just has more of an aggressive and sporty stance to it. Let's take a look around to the back, and you'll see how the S-Line package also complements the rear of the vehicle. So if you look at the rear valence above the exhaust pipes on the S-Line package, you'll see the honeycomb texture there. And on the base package, the rear valence is a little bit more simple. So you may have noticed some differences between the silver and the black car. Aside from the S-Line package, the black car also has what's called the black optic package, and we'll point out the differences. In the standard version, you'll see the chrome grille surround and the gloss black grille right here. Over on the black optic side, you'll see the grille surround is anodized black, and the grille itself is actually like a matte gray. Now, the other thing that's a little different, if you come and take a peek up here, is on the non-black optic car, there's like this chrome edging that goes around the windows. And on the black optic car, that is all blacked out. There are 2 ways into the Audi A6 trunk, either by using the button on the advanced key or by using the soft touch button underneath the trunk lid. The trunk itself is spring-loaded, which is great. It pops right open, and as you can see, it's large inside. Let's take a quick measurement. I've got about 40 to 41 inches wide, and about 44, 45 inches deep, about 18 or 19 inches high. So obviously there's a lot of space for large golf bags or anything like that. There is this convenient little side nook which makes just enough space for all of your driver heads. Comes with the cargo net inside, which is very stretchy and holds down anything you have in there, but my favorite is the grocery bag hooks. If you go to the market and you get like 1 bag of oranges and 1 bag of eggs and you have suspended off of the trunk ground, then you can be pretty much assured that they're not going to roll around and cause chaos in your trunk. The seats here on the A6 are a 60-40 split, and they include a ski pass-through, which is a standard on the A6 and not part of the Audi A4. So if you're looking for a reason to upgrade, keep that in mind. Let me split these down here for you. This is a ski pass-through, so if you have 4 passengers in the car and you're all going up to the mountains, at least, you know, everybody can be seated, and then the seats fold down quite flat, which is very nice, and they're really easy to put up and take down. Now, one of the reasons to get an A6 is the rear seat space. So if you have a lot of passengers, it's extremely comfortable. Now, I'm not very tall, but even if I were over 6 feet, this thing totally fits the bill. So cutouts from the front seat give you extra leg room. Cutouts in the headliner give you extra headroom. And as far as creature comforts go, this thing is quite deluxe. All of the A6s come with 3-zone climate control, meaning that the backseat passengers can adjust the temperature and the blower speed. But this particular A6 has 4-zone climate control, meaning that each, the right and left side, can control theirs separately. Now, there are vents here, vents under the feet, and also vents right up here in the B-pillar of the car, which means that even on a hot day like today, it's quite comfortable back here. All A6 passengers have their own sport bottle holder right here in the door, so everybody's got a place to put a large bottle. And here in the center console, there is an extra set of fold-out cup holders as well. Now, you can even get heated rear seats for the back seats, and as you can see, the A6 is just a passenger's delight. Safety-wise, there's really 2 categories of safety. There is driver control, and then there's occupant safety. Now, as far as the controls go, you can expect all of the standards on the A6, like anti-lock brakes, electronic brake force distribution, tire pressure monitoring, and of course, you know, stability control and traction control and all of those things to keep you going in the right line. As far as occupant safety goes, it starts with the airbags, and there are an optional 10 airbags in this car. So, standard dual-stage airbags in the front, which change speeds depending on the weight of the occupants, right? Then torso airbags that come out of the side of the seats this way. The A6 actually includes knee airbags, which is different from the A4. Those are not available on the A4 at all. And then, of course, curtain roof airbags, which go all the way to the back seats. So that's 8, but the options are the rear seat torso airbags, which makes up the last 2. So it comes right out here of the panel. If you are using a child seat with the A6, we don't really recommend using those optional side airbags for the rear passengers, because it has a tendency to kind of get in the way a little bit with the child seat. But if you are, you can use the latch tethers, which are these anchors down here in the seat, and the anchors up top to really secure the child seats in place. Now, as you remember from earlier, there's a lot of space back here, so it's really easy to get those seats in and out. And as a driver, it's very easy to control all of the child safety lock features. If you take a look here in the window switch panel, there are 2 buttons that have these small child icons on them, and they control not just the window feature, but also the door locking mechanism. So it's a really quick toggle, has a little light indicator, it's very easy, and you don't have to mess around with any sort of interior locking mechanisms or anything like that. So let's take a second now to break up all the different variations of the A6 that are available. I want to start by clarifying something, because it can get confusing pretty quickly. There's model, which is A6, then engine, which is either 2.0 or 3.0, then driveline, which is either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which we call Quattro, and then there's the trim. And the trim is actually more like packages and options. So there is Premium, Premium Plus, and Prestige. It should be kind of self-evident that any Prestige car is going to include the things that Premium Plus and Premium have, and any Premium Plus car includes anything that the Premium has. So let's take a little bit deeper look, starting with the 2.0 4-cylinder. The 2.0T comes standard with the front-wheel drive Multitronic Transmission, and the base price is $43,100. Now that's the premium trim. If you opt for the Premium Plus trim, the base price is $47,400, which is about a $4,300 add. As far as engine and power goes, the 4-cylinder turbo creates 220 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds, of torque, which is the same as the Audi A4. Now remember, the A6, being that it's mostly aluminum on the outside, is only 210 pounds heavier than the A4, so the performance is pretty comparable. The 0 to 60 is about 7.4 seconds, which is only 0.8 seconds slower than the smaller, lighter A4, and the fuel efficiency is 25 and 33 for a combined total of 28. The range is up to about 650 miles on a full tank. Now, if you ask me, stepping up from the A4 is more about space, without pricing yourself out of the market. And the span of the 2.0 engine between the models makes this possible. So, you don't have to automatically jump into a $15,000 more expensive car if you want to get an A6. The 2.0 makes it pretty easy to do so. Also, the configuration of the A6 gets better fuel economy than the A4 by 1 point all the way around. So when you step up to the Quattro system in the Audi A6 2.0T, the premium trim goes up to 45.2 and the premium plus trim goes up to 49.5. So the difference between the front wheel drive and the all-wheel drive is about $2,100. Now that $2,100 doesn't just change the driveline as far as how the power gets to the wheels, it also changes the transmission. You go from the CVT, the continuously variable transmission, to the 8-speed Tiptronic transmission. Let's talk a little bit more about the Multitronic. Another name for Multitronic is CVT, which stands for continuously variable transmission. So in essence, the car really only has one belt-driven gear. And when you think about it, driving the car is kind of a new experience. It never really shifts. The car just kind of slowly revs up over time until you reach your maximum speed. It's an interesting feeling, but it's definitely very smooth, which was the whole point to the design. Pound for pound, I think I personally prefer the all-wheel drive system connected to the Tiptronic transmission because I like that kind of more traditional, plant your foot in the gas, let the car rev up, let it shift, let it rev up, let it shift. That's just me personally, but we invite you to drive both and see which one you prefer. If you ask me, the reason to spend the extra $2,100 for the Quattro system is to get the Tiptronic transmission, which outperforms the CVT in 0 to 60, which drops to 6.6 seconds, handling, and driving environment flexibility. One could also consider it a safety feature as it provides more stability and traction for the driver. So the most loaded A6 2.0T that you can get is between $53,000 and $54,000. The only thing that it precludes you from getting are some of the advanced technology options. We'll get more into those later when we get into the V6, so let's jump in and do that now. The 3.0T motor is a supercharged V6 and always comes with the Audi Quattro all-wheel drive system. The car comes in two trims, Premium Plus and Prestige. Premium Plus starts at $55,100 and Prestige starts at $57,900, which is about a $2,800 add. Engine and power-wise, the V6 makes 310 horsepower and 325 foot-pounds of torque. It is married to the 8-speed Tiptronic transmission and does the 0 to 60 in about 5.3 seconds. Fuel efficiency-wise, the V6 gets 18 and 27 for a combined 22 miles per gallon. On a full tank of gas, it'll get you about 535 miles. The reason to upgrade from the 2.0 to the 3.0 when you're spending the $7,700 to do it is because the 3.0T gets 97 more horsepower and 67 more foot-pounds of torque, meaning that it does the 0 to 60 in 1.3 seconds faster. Now, one of the primary differences between the 3.0T and the 2.0T is that the 3.0 uses the supercharger and the 2.0 uses a turbocharger. To give you kind of a little bit of background, a turbocharger uses exhaust pressure to create additional forced air induction into the engine, which gives it basically the ability to burn more fuel at a faster rate and therefore gives you more power. A supercharger is similar, but it uses a belt-driven system from the motor, so it only produces about 11 or 12 pounds of boost, but it really delivers just instant power as soon as you hit the gas pedal. There have been some complaints over time that turbochargers, all of them, provide a little bit of turbo lag, meaning that it takes a little while for the engine to kind of spool up and create that exhaust back pressure that's going to feed the fresh air into the engine. But with a supercharger, it's really just, you push your foot to the pedal and go. The 3.0 TDI is a V6 diesel engine, and again is married to the Quattro all-wheel drive system through the 8-speed Tiptronic. Engine and power-wise, it makes 240 horses and a whopping 428 foot-pounds of torque. The 0 to 60 is about 5.5 seconds, which is extremely impressive for a car that has a base price of $57,500 for the Premium Plus trim. The Prestige is about a $2,800 ad at $60,300. Fuel efficiency for the car is 24 and 38 for a combined total of 29 mpg, and the range is a staggering 730 miles. So suppose you're a driver that puts about 15,000 miles per year on your car. You would save about $2,100 in fuel costs and about 500 gallons in diesel fuel. Now what that means is you're burning a whole lot less CO2, but more importantly, it means that you're not stopping in the fuel station as often, by about 23 fuel ups. So remember, the 3.0s only come in a Premium Plus or a Prestige trim. Now, the S-Line package, if you remember, is that exterior body enhancement package. That is only available on the Prestige. Prestige also adds the Bose 630 watt 14 speaker audio system, the interior ambient LED lighting, the front seat ventilation for the driver and the passenger, and also the cornering headlights that are adaptive. So when you turn the steering wheel, the headlights actually track with them. Really great, gives you kind of like a cool peek around the corner. Also included with the Prestige is the pre-sense rear and the side assist systems. Now we'll get a little bit more into the technology as soon as we jump inside of this A6 TDI in the showroom. So all of the technology on the Audi A6 is controlled by the MMI panel, which stands for Multimedia Interface. I like where everything is positioned. It's right here, your elbow's kind of naturally bent, it's very easy to get to, and it doesn't ask you to do a lot of like calisthenics to try to get up to the screen for like a touch interface. This is much more centralized and a lot easier to kind of keep your attention on the road while you're trying to fiddle around with all the knobs. What I like is that everything is color-coded. So every time you hit the navigation button, everything on the screen is blue. Every time telephone, it's green. Every time with radio, it's orange, so forth, so on. So it's very easy to see just kind of at a glance where you are in the system. So the selection knob is married to this carousel on the screen. So as you're going through to choose what you want to use, you can see how it highlights the icons in correspondence to the position of the wheel. And then you just push to click. Of course, when you're using the system and you're driving, you're going to be using this center information display located above the steering wheel primarily. Now, all of the information is tied together. So let's say you're navigating to a destination and you've got your map located here. In this area, you're going to have like turn right, turn left, coming up in X number of feet, and that sort of thing. This can also be very, very useful with the voice activation features. So when you want to program a destination, for example, you can do so with your voice just by using the button on the steering wheel. And the great thing about the Audi A6 is that the voice recognition will actually accept like a full address for the input. So you can say 123 Main Street in Mission Viejo, California, all in one shot, and it'll accept it, figure it out, and then start the navigation, as opposed to kind of like a game of ping pong where you're like, what city please? Oh, I want Mission Viejo. Okay, well, what state? And I want California. And then it's just this endless back and forth. Anyway, this center information display is also enhanced with the night vision assistant. So if you are driving at night and there are pedestrians in your path of travel for up to about 300 feet, it'll show you a warning and actually the outline of that pedestrian right here in the center display. Or if you've opted up for the innovation package, you'll have the heads-up display, which is like a kind of like a hologram displayed up on the windshield that gives you that kind of information, especially for the night assistant as well. One of the things that makes the A6 special is that it is Wi-Fi enabled. So when you buy an A6, you can get an Audi Connect SIM card. The SIM card pops into the dash right here and basically provides a cellular data uplink between the car and the internet. The service is actually a 6-month free subscription through Audi, and then it's basically a pay-as-you-go sort of thing. But the benefit is that it enhances the navigation system and all of the other features in the car with a bunch of rich data that you can't really otherwise have access to just on board in the car. So, for example, let's say you're going to a a restaurant in town and you know what the name of the restaurant is, but you don't know what the address is. That's a totally common situation. In this case, with the Audi Connect system, you can use the voice system to say, take me to whatever the name of the restaurant is, and it will fetch that information from the internet, bring it back to the car, and then plug in the address for you. So quite a convenient time saver. Another great thing about Audi Connect is that it enables a Wi-Fi hotspot inside of the car. Now, we don't really encourage you to be driving and being on your laptop or your tablet or your phone at the same time, but it is really convenient for your passengers, especially given that the A6 has so much room in the back. If you're on a long road trip and somebody wants to be on their iPad, they can be connected to the internet now. Audi Connect also adds more features like news and weather and fuel prices, all sorts of points of interest, and even Google reviews. So when you are navigating to a place or you're searching for a place, like a fine hotel or something like that, you can actually see Google reviews straight on the screen and kind of get an idea of where you're headed. One extra convenience from Audi Connect is that it's now connected to your My Audi account. My Audi is basically an online portal that you log into. The purpose for it is to allow you to use Google Maps and choose destinations or a whole string of destinations and plot a route and then upload that whole route to your A6. So where that might be very practical is, let's say if you are a real estate agent or like an outside sales rep, or if you're going on like a long distance trip and you wanted to program a bunch of different waypoints, all these different addresses. Instead of doing them all in your car and either using your voice or the MMI touch or the control wheel to do it, which may take a long time, you can do it from your home or office and really just type in and kind of mouse around and add all of your locations very, very quickly and then upload them to your car. When you sit in the car, then you can retrieve them from your online destinations and just start hitting the list of places that you have to go. Lastly, one great thing, and this is a kind of just a personal thing, is all of the Google Earth data is also being imported into the nav system. So when you are going from place to place to place, what you see on this map is really more of a 3D view, including all of the buildings and such, which really helps orient you very well, and it gives you just like a kind of an instant idea of where you are. So well done them. So I think the most common way to program the car, especially as far as navigation and these online destinations are concerned, is with your voice. And because of that, the voice recognition system comes with a training mode that lets you custom tailor the A6 to your voice so that you get the best communication with the car. It's really frustrating sometimes when you sit in a different car and you're asking it to do something over and over again and it just doesn't understand and it doesn't understand. So for that reason, the voice recognition training really helps match up your voice specifically to the car, and it works really brilliantly. If you prefer not to use your voice when programming your car, you can of course use the scroll wheel, or you can use the Audi MMI Touch feature, which is a small pad that's located right next to the control knob that lets you draw letters when you're, let's say, inputting a navigation destination. This touchpad also does things like save your presets and let you kind of like switch between your radio stations very quickly, and it replaces the need for a bunch of extraneous buttons on the dash, which is nice because the Audi design has kept everything very lean and very clean and not too confusing. I mean, imagine getting out of a 2004 Audi A6 and getting into a brand new A6. It's like 50 years of technology has gone by. It's amazing how much these cars can do. So remember that the Audi A6 comes with 3 different radio options. The Premium 2.0 comes with just the standard Audi radio system. When you upgrade to a Premium Plus, you typically get the Bose 630 watt 14 speaker audio system. Then when you upgrade again, you can get the Bang & Olufsen 1300 watt 15 speaker system. Now, regardless of which system you choose, they all have the ability to stream music through Bluetooth, use the Audi Music interface cord like an iPod connector, or use the SD card slots right up here on the dash to import music into the jukebox. And of course you can use Sirius XM satellite radio or a CD. So the Bang & Olufsen system is definitely a cut above the Bose system. And one of the reasons that that's true is that the Bang & Olufsen engineers actually spent over 400 hours custom tuning the audio system inside of Audis. So they don't just crank out audio systems for every single car. I mean, you can get a Bose system in a Chevy truck, but they have spent their time to custom tailor the audio experience just for this brand. Now, the acoustic lenses which rise out of the dash are uber cool, but they also have a really cool function. They help focus the audio depending on the environment of the car. So if your windows are down or your windows are up or you're going slow or you're going fast, it's actually going to pinpoint where the audio source is coming from, which is phenomenal. Inside the car, it uses the ICE power amplifier, which is really quite impressive. Bang & Olufsen has an amplifier that's much, much thinner and runs much, much cooler than other products that are out on the market, which means that you can pump up the wattage and get more out of the system without creating just a bunch of excess heat or, you know, a big bulky amplifier that doesn't really fit inside of a car's crevices very well. So Presense is one of the main safety features of the A6, and it starts with Presense Basic, which is basically the pretensioners in the car. So the pretensioners are for the seat belts, and what they do is when you snap in, they actually snug you up into the seat ever so gently, right? The point of that is this: if you're sitting here and you get into a front end collision and you're about to go forward, you don't want the airbag deploying and coming against you. So what the pretensioners will do if they detect a collision is they'll snug you back up into the seat so that that airbag can come out and then be catching you on the way in. Also included with Presense Basic is the car's ability to roll up the windows and close the sunroof if a collision is detected, just to make sure that no occupants are thrown out of the car or no foreign objects are coming into the car. Presense Front requires the adaptive cruise control system and uses a camera located right here behind the windshield to monitor the road in front of you. Now, if a car suddenly slows down in front, what's going to happen is the car is going to realize, hey, you know what, we might hit that thing. Then it's going to send up a bunch of signals to the driver that say, you should slow down. If I refuse to slow down because I'm either asleep or not paying attention or whatever the case may be, the car will actually activate the brakes and either slow me down to mitigate the collision damage or bring me to a complete stop if it's at all possible. So Presense Plus includes Presense Front, but also Presense Rear, to where the car will actually move the seats into the most optimal position to prevent whiplash in case you're plowed into from behind. Audi Drive Select is one of the great features of the A6, and using the carousel wheel here, you can select different modes for the vehicle to drive in. So there's a comfort mode, there's an automatic mode, and there's a dynamic mode, and you can also set all of those tolerances individually. What they affect is the way the steering feels, the way the throttle responds, basically kind of the character of the car. How it's useful is when you have two drivers that share the same vehicle. Let's say one of them likes to drive very smoothly and comfort-wise and, you know, like doesn't exactly need a sports car, you can set it to the comfort mode. And if you have somebody who's a little bit more aggressive of a driver, a little more lead-footed, set it to the dynamic mode, and it's a whole different car. It feels like two different cars in one. One feature that really helps save fuel on the A6 is the auto start and stop, and there's a button for it right up here on the dash to where you can turn it off. It's a little unnerving at first, but the A6 will actually turn itself off at a stoplight when there's no need to run the engine, so it doesn't burn any extra fuel. However, all of the AC features and all of the radio features and everything obviously stay engaged. The second that you lift your foot off the brake and move it to the gas pedal, by the time your foot is there, the car's already restarted and ready to go. It's brilliant. Thanks for watching everything there was to know about the Audi A6. We appreciate your patience. And if, of course, you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below or click on the link in the description and visit our webpage. Our salespeople are happy to help anytime.